This was a classic case of driving while black.
So I've got an update on the William McNeil Jr. case. I was wrong, but at the same time, I was still right.
That day, I just really wanted to know, why I was getting pulled over.
Well, of course you did. Did you try asking him?
Is there a reason that you're pulling me over?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a reason why I'm pulling you over. For one thing, inclement weather, you don't have your lights on. Two things, you're not wearing your seatbelt.
It's daylight. I don't need the lights.
Well, right there, it sounded like he gave you 2 reasons and he was on his way to 3 before you started arguing. But did you hear him when he said it?
He said, well, for one, your headlights are off under this weather. I'm like,
oh, so he did tell you, you just didn't like the answer. That's different from what you said. Oh, and this is where some people would say we were wrong, but at the same time, I would say we were right. People kept debating, and I even pointed out that there was water on the car, which would let you know that it had been raining right before. And then a channel called The Lead Attorney, I went in and checked out their video, and he was saying that it would have to be raining at the actual time for him to be pulled over because of the rain. But the thing is, the officer listed not only not having headlights on in inclement weather, but also did mention the seatbelt. But we'll get to that a little bit more in a second.
And wow, I needed to step out the car.
The reason that he asked you to step out of the car was because when he asked you for your license, registration, and insurance, you refused to give them to him.
Give me your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance.
And when you refuse to give up your documentation or show who you are, of course that's going to seem suspicious, so they're going to ask that you step out of the car.
Step out of the vehicle. No. Step out of the vehicle.
Plus the fact that your car is ghetto and the window didn't work, so you have no choice but to hold the door open anyway.
I was really just scared.
Really? You were scared? Because you seemed, dare I say it, sassy when you were dealing with the officer. I don't even recognize who this person is in this press conference. I mean, you seem so mild and timid compared to what you were doing on the day of the incident.
That entire stop was not just pretextual, racial motivated, it was unlawful. And everything that stemmed from that stop was unlawful.
I'm sure you would love that, but the fact of the matter is it was a lawful stop. Because here's the thing I was talking about. Florida has a primary seatbelt enforcement law, meaning an officer can stop a vehicle solely because the driver or a passenger isn't wearing a seatbelt. So, being that that's one of the first things that he said, it was reason number 2 for why he pulled him over. I think that in court, what's going to end up happening is they're going to find that it is a legal stop. Now, are they going to find that the force that the officer used when he actually struck William McNeil Jr. was justified? I'm not sure on that. But as far as the entire stop not being lawful, I don't think that's actually going to pan out the way that they want it to.
They always have this narrative being, he was a thug.
You know, I haven't seen a single person describe him as a thug. Technically, I think he handled this more like a bitch, to tell you the truth. What's up, everybody? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. All right, you guys, so there's 2 main reasons that I wanted to talk to you about this particular story again. There were 3, but I already handled the first one in the beginning. That's the deal with the headlights. But the other 2 things that I wanted to talk about is, one, I think there's a question that nobody's asking that to me is one of the most important questions in this whole thing. And the other thing is, I think that William McNeil Jr. and his lawyers have now introduced a lie to the story, and I think that they may end up eventually being cooked because of it. Because to me, it's a pretty glaring omission initially if it's not a lie. But let's get into it. Before we go any further, I am just going to ask that you like, comment, and subscribe. Also, August 16th, if you're going to be in Phoenix, Arizona, I will be doing 1 show in Phoenix, Arizona on August 16th. Check the pinned comment down below for the ticket link and all the info.
On February the 19th, 2025 this year, America saw what America is. You saw injustice. You saw abuse of police power.
Actually, what most of us saw was a young man who refused to comply with lawful orders from a police officer. So when you're trying to turn it into this thing where America has a problem with race,
What he exhibited
was a 21st century Rosa Parks moment.
I know they're civil rights lawyers, so they almost have to do that. But at the same time, it's kind of like they're trying to gaslight us.
What I believe it was a, and I'm gonna say it, a whitewashing. Whitewashing. Yeah.
And we just don't live in that world right now in this particular country. Like, is this country perfect? No. But is that really the reality of what we're all dealing with on a daily basis? I don't think so. I also don't think that this had anything to do with race. Like, the way that the lawyer's trying to paint it is, we're at a crossroads right now in this country. This country showed us who it was on that day. Yeah, we're just not living in that world. Sorry to both of you, because both of his lawyers are really trying to push that. And the driving while black.
This is about driving while black. We don't believe they ever would have done that had this been a young white citizen.
Was the fact that his license was suspended in the first place because he was black? Because if you've got a suspended license, you shouldn't be behind the wheel of a car anyway. You really want to know how this all could have been avoided? If William had actually respected the fact that he had a suspended license and not been in the car in the first place. And that's a lot of times what it is when people try to blame things on their race. In a lot of cases, it really is just you doing something that the rest of us would get in trouble for too. You just feel like you can blame it on race because a lot of people have been letting you get away with that for several years now. And they open it up to the reporters at the end and they ask if anybody has questions doing a Q&A, but nobody ever asked, why was your license initially suspended? Which to me is a question that should be answered. I mean, like, the lawyer concentrates on the fact that he's never been in trouble for anything, but why was his license suspended at the time? And the other thing that I think they just pulled out of their ass so that hopefully he could get out of trouble is that now they're saying that one of the police officers off camera had drawn a gun on him.
And according to William, there's another video, another officer's there. They didn't release this video. Officer had him at gunpoint. So now you at gunpoint, and they telling you for not having headlights on, you better answer for a supervisor.
So the request, the gunpoint, you were at gunpoint?
Not initially, okay. But he was continuing to request for us. It was off the camera, you couldn't see it. According to William, he was being held at gunpoint by one of these officers.
I don't know why you wouldn't mention that as part of your trauma if that really did happen. Because if you guys didn't know, I didn't address it on the last video, but he had actually put out a statement on Instagram. And in that statement, this is what he said.
February 19th, I was pulled over at 4 p.m. for my headlights being off. No rain, smoke, or fog. In fact, I could see a part of the blue sky. I simply asked for a supervisor and things escalated quickly, as you can see. A chipped tooth and 9+ stitches in my lips. My tooth went through my lip. Were the results from them slamming me on the ground for no reason when I was trying to put my hands behind my back. And I also suffered a concussion and short-term memory loss. This was very hard to do. I'm not mentally healed from this, but I had to get the word out eventually, and if I pushed you away or changed, more than likely this is why, or I just don't F with you anyways. Talk to you later. Please tag and share.
Notice that? Mentions absolutely nothing about anybody drawing a gun, but now his lawyers are saying that it was off camera. There was an officer that had pulled a gun on him. I find that highly unlikely. And then I saw him and his lawyer doing another interview with Chris Cuomo and softened it a bit.
The first initial cop who pulled me over, he first put his hand on his gun right before I closed my door. That was my reason of closing my door, because he put his hand on his gun.
So if that really did happen, why didn't that get mentioned sooner is what I want to know. I don't think it actually did happen. I think these people are just trying their best to really milk it and make it seem like this person is just an angel and has never done anything wrong in his life and couldn't possibly be in the wrong, even though clearly the video that he put out was edited. He cut the first part off of it. And I think that's another thing that should happen in court. I think that they should ask him, hey, we want to see the fully unedited version of this video. Every single thing you have from the beginning of when you started recording until it either ran out of video or the police shut it off or whatever happened. And then there's one point where a guy's like,
what happens when we do all the right things and it still turns out wrong?
how about you try doing everything the right way first? Because the right way would have been for this idiot to just give up his information as soon as the police asked for it. Not made it into a big deal, not tried to argue it. And then another thing that got on my nerves before I get too sidetracked is there's a point when they're giving the speeches that one of the guys says,
we all give our children the talk and he mastered the talk.
and so later on, one of the reporters is like,
I wonder, it was said earlier, quote, we all give our children the talk and he mastered the talk. William, are you able to share what you were taught growing up about police encounters and how did that come into play in the video that was watched?
and then William responds with,
Basically, what I was taught is to, instead of fighting them on the street where we don't have power at, fight them in the courts.
Amen.
well, what was all that arguing you were doing if that wasn't you fighting in the street? Like, that's kind of what we're all saying that you should have done. Was it instead of trying to litigate it on the side of the road, what you should have done was taken your tickets or whatever your medicine was and handled it in court. But the thing is, you knew that you were on a suspended license. You knew that your registration wasn't up to date. You knew that you had weed in your pocket. Everything that you were doing wrong, you actually knew at that time. And that's the reason you didn't want to give up your information, because you knew that you were going to get a bunch of tickets and you were probably going to go to jail anyway. So instead, you turned it into all of this. And while we may have been wrong when it came to the rain situation, we're still right in the fact that there was a legitimate and valid reason for them to pick him up. And to tell you the truth, I hope he doesn't even get the money for the chipped tooth, because I don't think the chipped tooth happened on the initial when he was struck. I think the chipped tooth happened when he was being taken down. And he made that more difficult because when they tried to pull him down, he was resistant. And since he had showed a pattern of resistance by that point, the cop went extra hard on him. And that's the way that went down. So it wasn't just about him being attacked the way they're trying to make it seem like he was just attacked. And I hope, even though I know this is a long shot, that they get absolutely $0 and 0 cents, because we've got to stop rewarding bad behavior in this country. We've got to stop making it seem like something wrong has been done to you when you're the one that's in the wrong, and doing it because of your skin color. The same way that you shouldn't be discriminated against because of your skin color, you also shouldn't be rewarded for bad behavior because of your skin color either. And that's 100% where I'm at on it. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. If you want to see a video about Laverne Cox being canceled, click the video on your screen. Other than that, as always, thank you for watching. This has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.
They bought into his bullshit.